Hello. Now we are going to work on your Mirror of Erised notebook. So we'll start with the notebook that came in your box. And if you go inside, you'll find these two pieces. Put them aside. They're inside the notebook because they're a little bit fragile, so I wanted to keep them safe by putting them inside. And also somewhere is the shiny silver mirror paper. Also just to try to keep it safe. And the brick paper. You will also need a pencil, scissors that your parents say are okay for you to use, your liquid glue that came in your box, your glue stick that came in your box, and later if you want the gold paint that came in your box, but that's for later. Okay, just to start with, don't need that right now, take the brick paper and you're going to put it inside the front cover like that and push it all the way in as far as it'll go and then close it. Then you're going to flip it over. Then you're going to take your pencil and trace around the edge of the notebook. And that way you will get the perfect fit. Okay. Take the paper out. Now you should have your trace marks there in pencil. And cut it out. Then you can put this aside. You can save the scraps for bookmarks, other crafts, whatever you'd like. Okay. Now we are going to glue your brick paper to the front of your notebook, and it should fit perfectly. If it doesn't, you can trim it a little bit here or there. So you'll take your, nope, I'm wrong. Take your glue stick and go all around the edges and the middle of your notebook. Make sure you get a nice even coat of glue. Okay. Now lay that on top. I would start with the outer edges, make the corners line up, and then smush towards the spine. And smush, 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 smush. Because you want it to lay nice and flat and stick to all that glue. All right. Next, you're going to take the silver mirror paper, and everybody got, it's a foam, it's a craft foam of the mirror. Doesn't matter what color it is because you're just going to cover it up, but you're going to, let me move this out of the way. You're going to, again with your pencil, trace around the edge of the mirror. And you only need to worry about, you don't need to go up over these pointy bits. Just along the edges will be fine. So it's hard to see on the camera, but you will probably have made, see how there's like indentations? So then you're going to cut the silver paper along those indentations all the way around. And this doesn't have to be perfect because, put the scraps away, because you're just interested in having it line up so it peeks through these parts. So if it's like a little too long down here, just give it a trim. And it'll be hidden underneath the edge of the craft foam mirror. Okay, so now the liquid glue is going to make the foam stick a little better. Now you'll take a thin bead of liquid glue. You don't want too much, because that'll make it too wet. Okay, and you're going to put your foam edge, your foam mirror, not the foam edge, over the silver mirror paper. And I put a little too much glue on this edge, but that's okay. It'll dry clear. I'm just going to use my finger and spread that out a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to keep going for the sake of the video, but it might turn out better if you let each of these layers of glue dry, maybe overnight, or at least an hour before moving on to the next layer. Okay. Now, you'll have your paper mirror, and we're going to glue that on top of the foam layer. Again, with the liquid glue, I'm going to use a little less this time, so it's a little less messy. Now this time you do want to go all the way up onto the pointy bits. Just a little bit of glue all around the edge of the foam. Just a little. It's not going to take very much to get this paper to stick. Maybe just a teeny bit there. Okay. Now, line that up, lay it flat, and while the glue is still wet, you can shift it around a little bit to make it lay just where you want it. Line up the pointy bits, and the edges. And again, I used a little too much glue because it's kind of glooping out over the edges, but that's okay. It will dry clear. Okay, now we are ready. I recommend waiting for this to dry completely, but now, once it's dry, you can decide, do you want it sitting on the very bottom? Do you want it in the middle? Over to the side? I think I want mine right along the bottom here and kind of centered. So once again, we're going to take our glue and apply it to the back of the mirror. Don't forget the pointy bits. And lay it on down. Give it a little smush so that every edge connects to the brick paper. There you go. And if you like the way this looks, just as is, you can be done. Or you can take the gold paint that came in your box and the paintbrush that came in your box. And again, I would wait until this was completely dry to do this step, but for the sake of the video, I'll just go ahead now. If you want just a little bit of gold paint on your brush, not a lot, and do a nice thin coat of gold paint. Now a thin coat of gold paint will just give it a little shine, a little shimmer, but you'll still be able to read the words printed on the top. of your mirror of Erised. And this would go on much nicer if the paper were totally dry. But that should give you an idea of what it would look like. Isn't that nice? And so there you have your mirror of Erised notebook. Good job.